Hello, everyone, and welcome to another thrilling, exciting, riveting edition of Books and Banter, your Medina Library's video blog as to what the experts are reading. My name is Lucius. I'm a librarian here at Medina. I'm happy to have the expert of experts, Mary Olson, who is our Reader's Advisory librarian. She's usually behind the camera. We got her out front today. But she's the one who writes all the cool articles, all the book reviews, so I'm really excited to have her here. Just real quick before we get started, going back to the last episode, I had two great things I forgot to mention. One, if you go back and look at it, it was Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn was the book. I matched my tie to the cover, so check that out. I was very impressed with myself. The other thing, I did not have a wine pairing for my book. I would pee on this, Cats by Poems, Poems by Cats. Perfect pairing is a Sauvignon Blanc Semillon mix from Bordeaux. Strangely enough, a classic aroma of a Sauvignon Blanc from the French region of Bordeaux is cat pee. So there you go.
And you sold us on the wine.
So, before we get going, the last two experts we had on here, Connie and Rachel, thank you. We're both teen librarians, so they read more of the YA literature. And of course, you know, if you've been following the show, I read more thrillers and mysteries and suspenseful books like that. So Mary, what are your tastes? What do you like to read?
My favorite things to read, and I can describe it in a few sentences, is a family saga, a family history with a long-buried question or mystery or murder would be even better. And my main appeal is characters. I can read a book that doesn't have a lot of heavy action, it doesn't move you through the book very quickly, but if the character is someone I love and care about and want to see come to a happy ending, then I think that's a great book. Characters are the main thing for me.
Very good, very good. And I think the book you're talking about today, nice segue right into your style of book, so take it away.
Thank you. The book I'm going to introduce you to today is The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry by Rachel Joyce. This was her debut novel, and I love it when a debut novel is really good because I usually enjoy panning the sophomore effort after the debut novel is so good. I have a thing for older English gentlemen. It is not a secret. My husband knows and fully approves because they're all in my books. I read a few books. I got on a trend, and Harold was the crowning glory of my trend of gentle English older men. And it started with Major Pettigrew's Last Stand. This was a really popular book a couple years ago, and it is about a retired British major who's a confirmed bachelor. He's living in a small village, and he's quietly falling in love with the shopkeeper in town who happens to be Indian. And their cultural differences create a little bit of scandal in town. But Major Pettigrew is just a man. I think every woman who read this book adored him. And then I discovered Mr. Rosenblum. Mr. Rosenblum Dreams in English by Natasha Solomons is the story of a German immigrant to London shortly after World War II. And his goal in life is to become the quintessential English gentleman. And what he needs most is a membership in a golf club. He wants to belong to a high-level English golf club, and they deny him membership because he's Jewish. So his quest is to make his own golf course. And it's all the crazy people that either help him along the way or try to destroy his dream along the way. So there's the two. But Harold Fry, let me tell you a little bit about Harold Fry. Because my main appeal is characters, I'll introduce the story through the characters. Harold is about a 65-year-old retiree. He's worked in a brewery his whole life. He's a rather passive man. He's henpecked by his wife. He's shut down emotionally. He's pretty unavailable. He doesn't really feel life anymore. He's just kind of going through the motions. And he lives in a small village in the south of England. His wife is Maureen. They've been married for 45 years. She is an obsessive cleaner. She cleans house all day long, and she nags Harold. That's her job. David, their son, is another character in the book, and David is a bit of a mystery because he's not present in the book. He's just spoken of. So we don't know where David is and why he's estranged from his family. And then there's Queenie Hennessy. Queenie is a friend of Harold's from a long time ago. They used to work together. And Queenie did something that really helped Harold out, and he's held on to that for many years. Queenie writes him a letter and tells him that she is dying in a hospice in the north of England. And this affects Harold very much. He's just profoundly moved by Queenie's letter. And he decides that he's going to write her a letter. He takes it to the post, and when he's just about to put it in the post box, he decides, this is far too important for me to send a letter, and I'm going to go visit Queenie in person. So he takes off right then, on foot, 6 to the north of England. He's wearing boat shoes, he's wearing a light spring jacket, he has nothing with him at all, and he doesn't even have a map to know where he's going. So this starts the story, and along the way, Harold has all sorts of encounters with strange English people, some of them very loving, very caring, very supportive of what he's trying to do. Towards the end of his journey, he kind of hooks in with a bunch of hangers-on, some pilgrims that take up his cause and try to accompany him, which proves to be a huge distraction for Harold, and he really has a moment where he has to decide, all of this craziness is not at all why I came on this trip. So there's an ending to this book that is heartbreaking, but very beautiful, and it's the true ending that has to happen. There's a lot of hope. The loose ends are all tied up. We find out what happened to David. We find out why Harold and Maureen's marriage is the way it was. We have a good ending for Queenie's story. I challenge you to read this book and remain unchanged. You will love Harold Fry.
Wow, a challenge. Very cool. You mentioned the characters and the people he encounters on his journey. Did you have a favorite character?
My favorite, Harold doesn't even know her name. He calls her the girl in the garage. And she's someone who was very tender towards him, and she was a very good listener. She just let Harold open up about his story, and the girl in the garage was Harold's favorite also, because at the end of the book, he writes her a letter to tell her that he's very near the end of his journey, and he tells her all about David, their son. And this is how we come to know what really happened with David. And so he was very moved by his encounter with the girl in the garage.
Very good. You mentioned the shoes, and if you read anything online or any of the reviews, everyone mentions the shoes. They're boat shoes?
I'm thinking docksiders.
Okay,
He
all
calls
right.
them his yachting shoes.
Okay.
And he sticks with them because he's very concerned about remaining true to himself. Those are his shoes. That's what he left home with. That's what he has. He has many opportunities to change his shoes or get new shoes or get proper walking shoes, and he doesn't take them because he's going to stick with what he has.
All right. Last question I have for you. Again, reading reviews and whatnot, it's a lot of critics are saying Harold is this everyman, that he has a lot of characteristics that you and I and the common folk can relate to. What do you think about that? Do you feel that he's an everyman? Are there certain characteristics that you really think that have some type of universal appeal that everyone can see themselves having?
I do. I think we all go through phases of our life where you're going through the motions, that it's just easier to focus on the next little task you have to do instead of maybe a memory that you're carrying around, or something that's unfinished with your spouse, or something that's unfinished with your child. So I think a lot of us need some sort of moving experience to break us out of that. So I think this book captures that kind of journey, and it's not just an inner journey he's taking a physical journey as well. It's a perfect metaphor for what's going on inside Harold.
Very cool, very cool. Excellent. Last but not least, what a wine pairing with this guy.
Well, I don't have a wine pairing, but
Okay.
I have what I think is the perfect drink to enjoy while you're enjoying Harold is a hot Powers. You take Powers Irish whiskey, you take a slice of lemon, about a teaspoon of sugar, and you put just enough boiling water in it so that it's really piping hot. And it's kind of like a really stiff tea. And it is absolutely great for when you are soaked to the bone when you're out on your walk like Harold is, or when you're in a miserable English spring day. I say hot Powers for Harold.
Sounds wonderful. I wonder
Hot
if my-
Powers, yes.
Yeah, break time. Wonderful, wonderful. So Pilgrimage of Harold Fry, check it out. Do you know waiting lists? Is there a big waiting list
No,
right now?
you should be able to get it.
Excellent. So pick this one up right away. How are we doing on time, Susie?
Time.
9. Oh, wow, we're pushing up against it here. Give us a plug.
Join me on Facebook every Wednesday night from 9 to 10. We have a free-for-all book discussion where I don't have a book that I'm discussing, but you do. So you can post your book that you're reading and what you'd like to say, and it's really fun way to meet up with other of our online followers and see what everybody's reading.
And last but not least, the second time I said that, working my script here. Lodi Library having the Winter Wonderland program on December 6th, Thursday from 4 to 7. It's at Lodi Station Outlets. Live reindeer, balloon twisting, and of course Santa's going to be there, so that's great. We're in full holiday swing here at the library. Okay, well, thank you, Mary. Wonderful book. I really appreciate you coming on to the show. And that's it. We will see you around the library.